All right, good morning, everyone. Or good afternoon. I don't know what time you get to hear us, but this is your Daily Huddle. We're truly excited to be here with you. And this is a 30-minute conversation where we get to empower you, where we get to give you insights and ways of looking at the current situation, to give you power in your decisions, to give you power with your emotions, and for you to be able to have better results as our life keeps building in a different way, in a new way. Today, I am particularly excited to be with you and to lead this conversation because we get to experience and we get to be part of a very, very special individual, which I am going to introduce in just a minute. But I want to acknowledge also my good friend and mentor for so many years, Sorel Catan, who, as a result of our work together, decided to create the Daily Huddle to empower you guys. So in a minute or so, I'm going to bring Sorel Catan also to say a few words. But I want to get started because I'm so excited about this conversation. So I want to get started with your permission, by introducing our guest speaker today. This is a very special individual. There's so much to say about her, and I only picked a few things that I thought will be really cool for us to know. So this is Mariela Romero. She's a journalist who currently works for Univision as the Communication Regional Community Empowerment Director. And what basically she does, she implements the corporate responsibility platforms for the company under the social corporate responsibility properly known Contigo. And she also develops content for a special program as the anchor, writer, and producer for the news magazine Conexión Fin de Semana in Philadelphia, Atlanta, and North Carolina. And something really cool about her is that she's had a chance to interview former President and Nobel Peace Prize Jimmy Carter, civil rights leader and Presidential Medal of Freedom, award Reverend C.T. Vivian, and American labor leaders Dolores Huerta among the distinguished public figures. Mariela has received 23 Emmy Awards from the Academy of Television Arts in the Southeast region, and the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce named her one of the most influential Latinos in the state. So that's pretty amazing journey, Mariela. Thank you for being here. Sorel, thank you for being here. And the rest of you, thank you for being in the Daily Huddle. Anything you want to add, Sorel?
Nothing much, Giovanni, just to say, welcome everyone. This is your huddle. Mariela is our guest and yours for 30 minutes. What a pleasure, what a privilege. Welcome, Mariela. Thank you. Giovanni, thank you.
Thank you all for having me.
Thank you, Mariela. So what we usually do in the Daily Huddle is we tackle a particular question and we go with it, right? And when I was speaking to you earlier, a few days ago, the question that we came up together that we wanted to engage with was, and I don't know if I'm going to word it correctly, but I'm going to give the context. Are goals really the one setting us up for the future we want? Or is it really the intentions that we carry, that are the ones setting us up for the future that we want? You know, because it's a big question that it's in everybody's mind at any point in their lives. I want to be successful, right? And so the big thing that we hear everywhere is, set your goals, set your goals, set your goals. Like, it's somehow the goals does it all. But when I spoke with you, you kind of gave me this new angle to it. Like, no, it's not really the goals. It's kind of like the intention that you wake up in the morning with, or that you honor. So you want to give us a little bit of insight of where you're coming from?
Yes, thank you, Giovanni, for that long introduction. And I want to say, to clarify things, you know, I am the oldest of 7 siblings, and they all call me Maleficent. So everything that Giovanni said, that was very nice. You can contrast with that. But Giovanni, I think this is a very important conversation, because it's not that the goals and having goals is a bad thing. It's just that when we become so enamored with the goal that we don't see the other things that are, maybe are going to help us get to the goal, but we have set our minds into how to get to that goal, that sometimes it hinders our ability to reach. And what you said about intention, I believe that is the most powerful thing. There is a knowing that all of us have inside. We all know what we want to be, or what we can accomplish, or what are our desires. And that is where our intention is born, when we have that knowing inside. Is the only way I can describe it, like something that instinctively, is nothing that you have learned. And that guides you to the life that you want to create. And that is a helpful thing when you are designing your goals. But we get so enamored with reaching those goals that we can become our own worst enemies in trying to achieve it. And I have reached this conclusion because of things that have happened in my life. And it's always intuition, the thing that guides me to the path where I'm supposed to be. I believe it was Oprah Winfrey that once says, one time she said that it doesn't matter where life is taking you, you are going to end up where you needed to end up. And I think that is the philosophy that I have carried throughout my life. I am probably one of the most shy people, introverted people that you can ever meet. And when I tell this to people, they don't believe me because I have this public persona, and I host a TV show, and I do so many public events and public speaking engagements. They cannot believe I am this shy. But if it were up to me, I would love to live in a library, just reading books every day, and learning, and not seeing anybody. But it was my growing up, the things that went on into my life, moving from country to country, that forced me to be someone that could conquer her shyness and acquire that tool that now has allowed me to do this job that I do. But it was not my nature. And I'm saying that example because everybody can probably understand how you are born with a set of tools and your nature, but that nature can be changed, it can be transformed. And I believe that my curiosity and the way that I was introverted later prepared me to have this job, because I learned some things and I had time to reflect because of my introverted nature. So use those things as tools, right? That later, if life circumstances force you to change nature, you are grateful for that set that you were born with. And I'm very grateful to that set of being introverted that I was born with. But things have changed because of my upbringing. Mm. So I think what is important to understand is that we have to be flexible. We have to be willing to move one way and the other, and allow the universe, allow life to get in the way, and then you move with it. I believe that is the biggest gift that I was born with, that I have an opportunity all the time when I'm faced with a crisis to sit back, relax, and say, okay, I'm going to go with the flow. And also, one of the things that life has given me is to be surrounded by people that is very, very different from me. that are completely the opposite. And those are my mom, my sister, my ex-husbands. They have been people who are very, very different from me. And observing them struggle by not allowing the bending of life has been an interesting thing for me to observe. It's not that I go around saying, I told you, I told you, I told you. No, I just see their struggle and I provide advice. I know that they don't take it, but I see it is a reaffirmation of how not to be. And from seeing people struggle and doing the things that you know they're doing wrong, that is also a learning tool. So be grateful for those teachers that model what you don't, what life should not be. You have to try to become an observer of that. It is my humble opinion. So
I wanted to add something because you're saying so many powerful things as you are developing as you're sharing a little bit to us, a little bit about your life story. You're saying some things that I wanted to go in a little bit deep if we can. One of the things that you said is that I haven't quite heard it that way, is that our goals tend to frame who we are. They tend to frame us and what's possible, right? I haven't quite, and that could limit me. And the other thing that you said, that the intentions opened up something, that it opens up a world that it doesn't need to be framed, right? And then you also said, which you said it very beautifully, that was so great on how to say something, which was that you've noticed the people in your life struggling with the bending of life, right? Like in my field, we call it being right about what you're right about, but you call it struggling with the bending of life. That's so beautiful. So the question I had for you to kind of diving into a little bit is, when we look at intentions, right? And this, I can't say that some people were born into this natural intention to grow. Like, how I'm sure that in some degree you have been intentional about framing the right intention in your life. Does that make any sense for you? Like, you don't just, I would assume you don't just leave it up to however you woke up in the morning. Like, there's some framing the intention, right? I would assume. So what do you hear on that?
Well, I would say that it is a combination of intention, and it's also, excuse me, and it's also the intuition, that it is something that that is very powerful, and it is inside of you. And I don't know how to describe it other way than say intuition.
How do you frame your intuition? Because I have spent my whole life, in some degree, my professional life, telling people you can set yourself up, like you can build yourself up so that your natural abilities guide you towards growth. And it's not something as special about you, but if you're listening and if you're framing yourself, you can get access to that. So would you say that intuition is something that either you got it or you don't, or you can actually frame your life in such a way that allows for yourself to listen to that intuition, you know? Like basically what I'm saying is, what I want the viewers to play with you is that, oh no, Mariela got the right intuition seed when she was born, and some people didn't get the right intuition. But I want to see how you play with that.
I think the right word that you just mentioned, it is absolutely accurate. The way to describe it is access. We all are born with that set of gifts that we have in the things that we can accomplish. And it's just how we get access to that. The way that I discover my intuition is every time I walk away from it and it doesn't feel right. when you know that what you're doing is not right, and then you go back. I'm going to give you a precise example. And I went exactly with my intuition on this. In around, I believe it was 2006, 2007, I was working as a freelancer for different companies, etc. But my main source of income, and I was a single mom, my biggest source of income was working, doing documentaries for a company called CWK Network. And they were big in the education industry. They created programs for school systems. And my job was to translate and create those documentaries in Spanish. So I had a crew of voiceover talent that, I paid them, I translated everything. I was in charge of making those documentaries relevant to the Latino community. So when one day I received a phone call from them, and they said, Mariela, we are suspending all of our Spanish-speaking side of the company because the world, the economy was changing. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because I'm paying my mortgage with this income. And the first day after that phone call, I started making all the phone calls that I could make, contacting people that I thought could help me, providing all my services. And I was so stressed out talking to them. I was just like, I need to find a job right now because I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay for my next mortgage. So I became desperate and I was calling everybody. The following day, I woke up with this dreadful feeling. I'm going to have to do this again. I'm going to have to start calling people again. And something inside of me said, that's wrong. That is absolutely wrong. You cannot do that. You cannot go into this energy of anguish and dreadfulness and fear. So my intuition told me that I needed to go on a walk in nature. My mom was visiting me from Venezuela, and I was hiding all of this from her because if not, she was going to be another source of fear and anguish for me. So I decided I'm going to go with my mom to the park. We're going to walk. And then I did the most reckless thing that you can imagine. I went shopping with my mom. And I had this feeling that everything was going to be fine. And I had no fear because my intuition was telling me that's what you need to do. So that day, I totally forgot about the phone call that I received the previous day. And the next day, something incredible happened. The company called me, CWK, and they said, Mariela, we just got an order for a very large school district. They want to create from scratch 6 new documentaries, and they want them in Spanish. And you are going to be in charge of producing and everything. So I went from total insecurity to having now 6 projects lined up. That would mean 6 more months of stability, complete stability, and peace of mind, doing something that I loved. So that's when I talk about intuition, is accessing that thing that told me, don't go to the panic reaction, don't go to the fear. You just have to align with something else and everything's going to be okay. That's what I said, that when I listen to my intuition is when I do that. When I have a goal and then it falls apart because the route that I had planned doesn't go, I always go back to that feeling. Okay, something is directing me to something else. And inevitably I end up where I wanted to end up. My whole career has been that. I when I got into journalism, which was not the career, my first choice, but I got to journalism anyways. My goal was not to be in the, doing the breaking news thing. I wanted to be more creating things that were positive for the world. So one of the first jobs that I got was at Televen in Venezuela. And it was a talk show. It was about stars, gossip, and stuff like that. Something that it was not my passion, but it was okay. But then I got into news. And when I came to the US in 2001, I started working at CNN. And my first job at CNN, my first day, was September 11, 2001. The most stressful day for news that you can imagine in your life. Those 3 years at CNN prepared me to know that I did not want this breaking news cycle to be the journalism that I wanted to. The real love that I have for journalism was something that I witnessed when I was at Televen, and I tried to get into that job. It was a show called Comunidad Con. It was not a very, flamboyant show or anything, but I admired that journalist so much, so much. I wanted to do a show like him. But at Televen, the doors were not open for me to work with him. Then I come here and I'm working in something different. Guess what? When the opportunity for Univision came, it was not to work on the news side, but on the community side. And the show that I have honors every day that journalist that I saw in Venezuela doing Comunidad Con. So if I would have been all hung up on being on that show in Televen and not moving my parameters and just focusing on just trying to get to that job, imagine I would not have moved to the US even.
Wow.
That's what I say, not to fall in love with your
goals.
Love, with that intention, that beautiful thing, that aspiration to do that show, the aspiration, but not to the goal, I have to be on that show, because you don't know what life is preparing you in where it is guiding you.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful, in the space of trusting. Anyway, I'm going to also open it up for everyone else who wants to maybe ask a question. Sorel, do you have a question that you'd like to ask?
Not a question, but simply a thank you for such a beautiful reminder, Mariela. And it's the reminder of, what is what is.
Correct.
Life is taking me in a specific direction, and it's all good.
Correct.
And the most I need to do is to simply trust the direction that life is taking me in, and get in the boat and ride and enjoy the ride. So thank you so much for creating that with us. And Giovanni, as you mentioned, I am sure the members of the audience have questions. So it's now their turn.
Yes, does anyone has a question I would like to ask, or you want to type it on the chat and I'll read it?
Hi, good morning. This is Ana Laura. Hola, Marielita.
Hola, Ana Laura.
So this is also not a question, it's just a thank you. Thank you, Marielita, for sharing and truly reminding me that what's important is intention. And as long as I have the intention clear, I'm going to have the life that I want, and I'm going to be able to create it. So thank you. It's just a thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Yes. Namaste, Marielita. That was so beautiful. Anybody else has anything else to say? Go ahead.
Okay, my question, good morning. My question is, since you love community work and now children are at home, what can we adults do to help the children to act in life according with the intention, being loyal to their intention to succeed in life, and don't be stressed out just with goals?
I love that question because, you know, that learning needs to happen for us, for the adults. We are the ones who are stressing out if our kids are not doing all A's in every subject. You know, we have to learn to reframe that. In when we have a child that is not doing well in one subject, we don't have to focus on that. We have to provide the help and the guidance, but we need to find out where is that child excelling, and then providing all the support and the in all the things that we want that child to flourish. We need to provide that child with those tools. So, and I learned this the hard way as a mom too. So I'm not saying that I always, you know, have behaved in the perfect way, but it has been a journey in my life. I have discovered that that mistake was made with me. My parents made that mistake with me, and then when I was raising my son, I had to stop and make a conscious decision of how I was going to support him, because he was not excelling in writing. He doesn't love writing things, but he loved fixing things. He's amazing. And you know what? He is great at explaining things. So I just, you know, introduced him to things that I knew he was going to have a curiosity, a natural curiosity for. And, you know, I provided the schooling that I thought it would be the best for him, because I wanted an environment where curiosity was always rewarded and not the performance. And I did that because I remember my own schooling. I remember that my last year of high school, it was awful because on Mondays I had math and Fridays I had math. So the whole week, the weekend was ruined because I was thinking Saturday and Sunday, oh my God, on Monday is math. Then Tuesday was a great day. Wednesday was a great day. Thursday was horrible because, okay, Friday's coming. How in the world you have a life where the weekend is awful and Fridays are awful because of math? That is a nightmare. That was my last year of high school because I hated math, and I had tutors, I had all the support. I just, you know, the educational system was not prepared for a student who just wanted to know, why do we have to learn this? Why Pythagoras created the equations and the things, the theoremas? Why? If you explain to me, hey, this man created this theorema because of this, I would have loved math. But I'm the type of student, you cannot go and say, okay, today we're going to learn about irrational numbers. Because my first question is, why do we have irrational numbers when I'm fine with the natural numbers? And that is how the system is designed. So please support your children in the curiosity. Some are going to excel at math because for them it's easier to understand. They don't need the preamble to learn math. Someone like me needed it. I was not going to force my son to be a perfect writer. That is not in his genes. But he is great at things that I cannot imagine even thinking. So that is my advice for parents. Take this time that we are forced to be with each other for so many hours all the time, and learn about your child, their natural abilities, and never put them in a situation where education is stressful, where they hate going to school. They're going to lie. They're going to say they're sick not to go to school, because that was me.
Wow.
I faced those situations.
Wow, Mariela, thank you so much. I'm going to recap a few things that I heard that I thought they were invaluable for me, and I hope everybody finds them as valuable. I love that you said create an environment for curiosity rather than an environment for performance. Powerful, powerful. That's beautiful. The other thing you said that I want to recap was be flexible with the bending of life. That was beautiful the way you worded it, right? Then you led us to this trust that the circumstances are guiding you for what you want, and listen for it, right? Like I could see now in the midst of the environment that we're in, right? It's difficult to trust that this is guiding me the way that I want, right? That's a blessing for me, right? So, but I'm gonna look, how is this guiding us, you know? And so, so thank you for being in that on and creating this powerful conversation about intentions. Anything else you want to say, Sorel, before we end?
No, Giovanni. Again, thank you, Mariela. As
Thank you.
usual, the Daily Huddle gives us the opportunity to make a collective contribution to humanity. And Mariela and everyone who participated today, I want to acknowledge the immense contribution that this conversation is to humanity. Thank you, Mariela.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow again at 9 in the morning with a new question, with a new inquiry. Have a great day and a new guest. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.